how exactly does ProPicks AI from InvestingPRO actually work? Today we're going to look at this in detail because a lot of people have asked me about it and many have doubts regarding this. First of all, you get this through a subscription to Investing, which is InvestingPRO. Investing itself is a free platform. What you see on the screen is investing.com, which is a platform that anyone can access, and it's completely free, and it helps you analyze stocks, ETFs, or whatever you want to look at. Here you get the full report, all the details, but InvestingPRO goes a bit further and has much more information, and among its tools is ProPicks AI. To get this, you have to pay for the subscription, which is over here. This subscription has different prices depending on where you are located, and you can pay either annually or every 2 years, but the recommended option is every 2 years because it turns out much cheaper. And to get all the recommendations, which we'll look at in a moment, the best subscription is this Pro Plus one. In fact, I've left a link in the description because this will give you a discount as well as a discount code so you can take advantage of it. Now, I'm going to explain how this works. Basically, this strategy, based on many artificial intelligence models, gives you, depending on different types of industries, different markets, and different investment strategies, strategies to be redundant, so you can invest in whatever you want each month. And how does this work? First, you're going to go here to ProPicks Artificial Intelligence. This is what appears here, and once you enter, you'll see all the available strategies. Then, the first thing you need to do is choose the market in which you want to invest. If you pay for the highest subscription, you'll get access to practically all countries. Australia, Brazil, Canada, Chile, Denmark, France, Germany, Hong Kong, India, Indonesia, Israel, Italy, Japan, Malaysia, Mexico, Poland, Saudi Arabia, Singapore, South Africa, South Korea, Spain, Sweden, Switzerland, Taiwan, Thailand, Turkey, United Kingdom, and the United States. Now, what is this about? Well, basically, if you are located in Australia, you click here and strategies specifically for the Australian market will appear. Or it could be that you're not located in Australia, but you simply have a platform that allows you to invest in Australia and you want to try out these strategies. The vast majority of people want to invest in the United States, so we're going to use the United States as an example, but basically it's the same in all countries. If you are, for example, from the United Kingdom or you're in the United Kingdom, you click here and a strategy for the UK will appear. Or, well, in this case, 3 strategies. Each country has a different number of strategies. In the case of the United States, it has the most. Now, once you choose the country where you are going to invest, here you set the focus, meaning how it will be divided by index, by sector, by value, by profit, by market capitalization size, and you simply choose the one you like the most. Or, since there are not that many strategies, for example, here there are 6 plus the other 4 on the second page, so there are only 10 strategies, you can check them here, and you can mainly base your choice if you want on the historical return they have had, or if you prefer on the most commonly used one, which in the case of the US is usually this one. In fact, it does not even appear here among the strategies, but instead shows up first here with its own tab, kind of as a reference, and it is the one that has performed best in recent years. Look, they even have the 12-year projection here, and you can invest in this one if you want. Or if not, you can search here, as I mentioned, by sector or whatever you prefer, or for example, value stocks over here. So you simply choose the one you find or consider most appealing, just pick it. Thank you. Now, once we choose it, which in this case could be this one, Tech Titans, which is the one I personally tend to use for my videos and the one I usually track, the next step is to go into the strategy. What will happen and how these strategies work is that every month they release an update indicating which stocks are sold and which stocks are bought. For example, if we look at last month, on November 1st, it said that these stocks listed here and marked as add should be added to the portfolio, and those marked as remove or eliminate should be removed from our strategy. How does it work? And how should it work according to what I've researched and what the strategy itself recommends? Here, you can look up this video and watch it, or actually read all this information shown here. Basically, for all the stocks you invest in, you should invest the same amount of money in each one. So each strategy will tell us a certain number of stocks. For example, this one says there are 15 stocks. So every month we will have an update to this portfolio, but no matter if 20, 30 or 50 years go by or however much time passes, the portfolio will always be kept to a maximum of 15 stocks. So what you need to do is open a calculator, for example here, and what you should do is take the amount of money you are going to invest in this portfolio and divide it by the number of stocks. So for example, if you are going to invest $10,000 in total, you divide this by 15. Which means that in each stock or each transaction, you should invest $666.66. And you do the same with any amount of money you have. If it's $50,000, you divide it by 15, and in this case, it's $3,333.33 that you should invest in each of these stocks. This is if you simply want to follow the strategy exactly as they present it, because as I mentioned, every month on the first of the month, they will give you an update. Look, these were the ones for December 1st. Here it told you what you needed to add. These that appear here, you add them one by one to your broker. And if you happen to have any of these stocks from previous months, then you would remove them. And that's basically how this strategy works. Obviously, they don't guarantee you a return. They don't guarantee that you're going to win for sure. It's simply based on artificial intelligence and historical analysis. Stocks that could potentially deliver a very good return. And as I said, this is the strategy you can follow if you just want to get in, buy and sell, that's it. But it's not the most recommended because even though this is based on AI, it's not always right. It won't always give the best performance because you have to keep in mind that there are things that even numerical data doesn't take into account, and those are more about market sentiment, news, and other types of movements. And in that case, this doesn't take it into account. But what you can do and what many people do to get the best possible return is the following. As I was saying, they release an update every month. By the way, before I explain the right way to invest and use this ProPicks AI strategy, I'm also going to explain something very important that some people don't understand. And the thing is, when you start investing in this, the important thing is not to go to where it says current stocks and invest in all the ones listed there. No, you have to invest in the stocks, specifically in the ones that are available for purchase during that particular month. That is, if you started in December, then the idea is to take the stocks they told you to invest in for December, which are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 stocks, as you can see here on the list. But as I was saying, in reality, there are always going to be a total of 15 stocks in the strategy. So what happened? Well, there are 5 stocks that may have been added in previous months that still haven't been sold, and since you just joined the strategy, obviously you shouldn't buy those particular stocks. For example, if this strategy bought those 5 stocks 5 months ago and they're up 500% and you enter right now and they suddenly go into losses, then the strategy will say it's making money on those stocks, but you can't say the same because you didn't enter at the same time the strategy did. That's why you should start in the month you join with the stocks they tell you to buy, and then later on you start adding or removing stocks in the future as the strategy updates. So in January, if they tell you to remove some of these stocks, you remove them, and if they tell you to add a new one, you add it to your portfolio. Eventually, there will come a month when you'll have the same stocks that are shown here, the same 15 stocks as everyone else following the strategy. Now let me explain further. What is the best and most effective way to use the ProPicks tool from InvestingPRO? Basically, the main approach is by coming here to the platform and looking at this detailed report called Pro Research. All you have to do is check it month by month, carefully reviewing the updates, and do your own thorough analysis. First, here in this section, they explain in detail why this particular stock was added to the strategy, but we can't always, or shouldn't always, rely solely on this information alone. Instead, based on this pro research, we already have a pretty advanced and comprehensive investigation done by experts and analysts who specialize in this specific field, and they give you the information exactly as it is without any alterations. Based on that, you can create your own personalized strategy with all the data and insights they provide here, deciding for yourself whether you want to invest in that stock or not. So what many people do is basically take the information from this report, and instead of investing in all the stocks that the strategy suggests, you can see which ones are best for you. In other words, analyze it properly, and once you've done your careful analysis, then you move on to the next step in your investment process. See if it's worth it or not to invest in those stocks. So if they recommended 10 here, after you do your analysis and look at each report they're presenting, you can choose, for example, 2 out of those 10. And it could be that later on by choosing those 2, you end up with much better returns than by choosing all the stocks, because sometimes the strategy might go wrong, but out of those 10, just 3 stocks were the best. And coincidentally, based on your strategy and your analysis, you picked the 3 best ones and got the best return, while other people might have had a losing month, but you could have had a profitable month. That's why it's important to do the analysis this way and use it like this. That said, I'll see you next time. I hope this video was helpful and useful to you, and if you made it to this point in the video, leave a dollar emoji in the comments section.